Right now I'm going to call the voice of the youth. All right? His name is Brother Damani Table. All right? So please put your hands together and welcome the voice of the youth, Brother Damani Table.
Good evening, UPP people.
Check.
And my brothers and sisters in Christ as well. So we come here today to formally open this edifice, our command center. And it's your command center as well, because this is the battle station from which we will all work together to defend your interests. Now you observe that our leaders are wearing yellow and you're wearing blue, and I think there's a metaphor in that, because our colors are the blue and the gold. So we need your help to continue this journey which we have started. Now, many young persons have asked me in this election cycle, how can they know they're making the right decision? And I would say, as you see in the words emblazoned on the side of the building, that it's all about leadership. But it's not just any leadership, because Mother Teresa was a leader, and Adolf Hitler was also a leader. So the leadership we're talking about, and I think you'll agree, is godly leadership. And the Almighty says that he among you who wants to be a leader must first be a servant. Because after speaking with you and fellowshipping with you and dialoguing and asking you about your hopes and dreams, after you have communicated your vision to the leadership, it is our divine mandate to help you manifest that vision. So we are serving you in manifesting your hopes and dreams. And you know, it's so important that we have godly leadership. And some people would ask, well, can a government be godly? So let's look and see if this government, God's appointed authority for this time, as of 2004, is in fact godly leadership. So the Almighty says that I wish above all else that you prosper and be in good health even as your soul prospereth. And so we have been maintaining that ability to prosper. You see vast investments on the horizon. You see holding the line in terms of advancing education and healthcare. All of this is to encourage you and to empower you to prosper. The Almighty says that he who lends to the poor lends to the Lord. This party is a conscious party who believes in social responsibility. And so we introduced the school uniform grant and the school meals program, because we believe that we have to care for the least among us. It's the godly thing to do. The Almighty says where there's no vision, the people perish. And so we've had the highest amount of educational spending and scholarships in the history of Antigua. We have new high schools on the horizon. And really and truly, the only other party to maybe surpass us in this regard, because we haven't quite hit our full stride yet, is the PLM, who built every single high school in Antigua, save for PM School. So, and in a biblical sense, you know, you have to look at the quality of the seed, right? Because they are predecessors and we continue in the same legacy. So you come from good stock, and you must never be afraid to acknowledge the history. You know? So it's all about the consistency in upholding the principles in the Bible. The Almighty also says a good name is rather to be chosen than silver and gold. Isn't that right? Well, since the advent of this government, Antigua's reputation has been totally restored. In fact, when I was at the United Nations, I was intercepted by a lovely Ghanaian diplomat, and she looked at my lapel pin and saw the Antiguan flag, and she said, "Oh, Antigua, you know, ICT capital of the world." And I said, "Yeah, quite right, you know." So all over the world, you know, people are seeing the quality of the leadership in Antigua, and they're looking at us as a bright light shining on a hill. You know, the other day, an investor was going to and fro in the country looking at, you know, mobilizing the investment. And he looked at a colleague of mine and he said, "Can you imagine? Nobody asks me for any money under the table." So every day he's sort of like dreading somebody's going to ask him for something under the table. And he can't believe that things in Antigua run so above board that nobody's asking him for no ill-gotten gains. That's the quality of the leadership we have in this country. I will give you one more example. So I was at Curtain Bluff, yeah? And there was this conference with a lot of high-powered executives in the political sphere from Twitter and so on. And while they were having their conference, a member of the other party, without police authorization, came by with a loudspeaker and disrupted the meeting. And I just had to hold my hands to my head, because I'm like, look at how we are counseling with investors and potential investors, spreading the good name of this country for your economic empowerment, and the adversary is trying to embarrass us, even while we're in the course of building this nation. But you know what comforted me? This rich gentleman from Ireland, multi-millionaire, he's just here checking out, the investment climate and so on, said, boy, worry not, we know you have competent governance in Antigua, and if you put those crazies back into power, you're on drugs, man. So, and I have to say that this is a party of hope. And in this election cycle, I admonish all young people to resist that chalice, the devil's cup of change for change's sake, which doesn't make any sense. You have to learn to check the facts. You'll have to learn to rightly divide the statistics to see what the record of this party truly is. And being a party of hope is important, because the Almighty says that great thoughts I have for you, thoughts of good and not for evil. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. And when I looked at the proceedings in Parliament the other day, and you hear people talking about people mouth bridle and all sorts of things, and when they look in people's eye, they see the spear, I rebuke that ungodly spirit of pessimism. This is not what we are about. We are about pressing forward, building on the sure foundation, following God's principles, continuing to work together in good governance to build this country. And let's face it, we have really weathered the storm. Have any of you ever been flying and in severe turbulence? Huh? And the plane is going to and fro and you hear people screaming and so, well, me, I have faith, so I don't care if I die, really, because I'll just be with Jesus. But after we come out the other end of the turbulence, what do? Do you cuss the pilot and say, well, that should have been smoother? Or do you not salute the pilot, this UPP government, for their competent handling of the worst global economic crisis in history? So I would just like to just admonish you to keep faith, and we have multiple arms of this party that are doing likewise. The next generation, the Youth League. We too believe in, without a vision, people perish. So we'll be rolling out a program of various educational initiatives, customer service training, resume writing, business planning. So log on to Facebook, search for UPP Youth, like the page, and keep up to date on those initiatives that are coming on the horizon. And the last thing I'd like to say is that we have to realize, right, that we have, by our prudence, our fiscal responsibility, okay, or maintenance of integrity in public life, we have sown seeds in good soil. Now, every seed doesn't come forth right away, right? I mean, some people want everything to be built in a day. But from experience that in childbirth, for example, you want the process to go through all the stages it has to go through, right? Because if you have a premature birth, you could have some problems, right or wrong. So there's a certain order things have to go in. We had the rescue mission in 2004. We have to have fiscal stability, okay? And Dr. K. Dwight Venner of the ECCB, who doesn't back either blue or red, commended this government. At the pre-budget consultation, Butch Stewart commended this government, okay? So we have sown seeds in good soil, but all the seeds aren't going to reap a harvest right away, right? You may get the corn in the 6 weeks, right? You get the mango in 3 years, but I am admonishing you, I beseech you, I beg you to speak the dialect. Do not turn over the good soil in which we have sown these seeds to the enemy, to the cankerworm and the palmer worm. Keep faith. It's leadership matters. UPP now more than ever. Let's win this thing. Let's maintain our standards and press forward from glory to glory. Thank you.